Gotzo versus Griffiths. Batman versus Jesus. Now, if you've spent roughly 2 minutes within the Berserk fandom, the chances of seeing someone wishing for Guts to impale Griffith with his big, girthy sword is roughly 99%, and unfortunately both implied meanings are just as likely. This fucking fandom. The whispers of the wind do not lie, for on this merry day does Vok return to your screens to spout nonsense about a manga that will never even end. I have travelled the vastness of Asia for a month, even getting a tattoo to mark my love for Berserk, and now I return on the waves of the future. To get back into the flow, I thought I'd remake my first ever video, adding some bits here and there. Sorry to disappoint you guys today, but instead of discussing the latest Griffith Guts fanfic, we will be talking about how the story will play out in terms of who will win in their eternal grudge match, as the ultimate conclusion of Berserk will most likely involve a final clash between Guts and Griffith in some form or another. Before the passing of Miura, he stated Berserk was around 70% completed, meaning by 2024 the end must be on the horizon somewhat, but depending on Berserk's erratic release schedule, this could be very wrong indeed. That being said, however, as of chapter 373, it is blatant to the audience and characters within the verse that Guts is absolutely zero chance in beating Griffith with his current form, meaning that to overwhelm the God Hand member, Guts would need a power-up beyond anything shown before within the story. However, I just don't see this happening. This isn't a shonen, and the main character does not always win with a flashing boom. An issue arises for Guts when considering the main form of powering up in Berserk is by sacrificing someone and becoming an apostle, something that Guts would obviously never do. His entire character is a symbol for human nature and the power of endurance, perseverance, and strength. And besides this, even apostles cannot touch Griffith, as we saw when Ganishka achieved the most destructive form ever shown of one. He failed to even damage or pose a threat to Griffith at all. He brought an entire army of demons to battle and was brushed aside like a child. Even Ricket did more damage to Griffith than Ganishka. Magical items of enhancement have become a regular use within Berserk. The garments gifted to Guts' squad and mainly the Berserker armor itself has allowed him to maintain his edge within battle, despite the physical and mental toll it takes upon his life. These items are also important due to the astral prowess they present. Griffith himself exists within the physical and astral realms, which means the only way to kill him or hurt him is by slicing through his astral form as well. The Dragon Slayer has built up an astral presence from all the apostles Guts has butchered over the years, and Guts being a sacrifice means he lives within both realms, but even with these technicalities on his side, Guts simply cannot match Griffith. By the events of chapter 366, we see that Griffith's presence is so godlike, so beyond what Guts is capable of harming, that no matter what physical buffs he gains, no matter how much wrath or rage he expels, Griffith is simply untouchable. Guts' petty existence is still beneath his notice. Nada has changed since the Black Swordsman arc. With all that being said, whilst I believe it is basically impossible for Guts to match Femto's power, it is not completely hopeless. Guts cannot match the power of Griffith, but he may be able to outmaneuver him. We know that Griffith will always transform into the Moonlight Child, who is Guts and Casca's son, and pause. Let's just analyze this for a second, because every time I do, it messes with my head. Guts and Casca's fornication leads to Casca getting pregnant. However, Griffith rapes Casca and the child is infected with his demonic sperm, causing the child to be born a gross, ugly demon. The child wanders around the cosmos for a few years until finally merging with the egg of the new world to become Griffith. This makes Griffith the partial father of the child himself, and therefore part son to Guts and Casca. Yeah, this don't make sense. Anyways, during this transformation, this causes him to become a defenseless, innocent boy with no malice towards anyone else. He also seemingly interacts with physical objects, as shown by wearing Guts' armor. The child will also always go back to his mother in Casca, which is the main reason why Griffith has captured her and taken her to Falconia, as it allows him not to wander too far away and stay safe. Whilst in the Moonlight Child form, this is when I believe Guts can at least mortally wound Griffith, even if he can't kill him completely, as his astral form would most likely survive. The main issue with this theory for me is if Guts can bring himself to kill the boy, that is technically his own son. But Guts' current mental state is shattered from despair, and we aren't too sure how he will react when waking up to the Kushan invaders, but if he gives in to the Beast of Darkness, then we may see a change in Guts, and whilst a regression in his character development would be tough to deal with, it wouldn't be the first time Guts has secluded himself in the solitude of his hatred. Whilst I doubt Guts could receive a power-up to match Griffith, he could receive something from maybe Skull Knight, such as astral training or a weapon. Speaking of Skull Knight, there is an obvious parallel between the two characters, Skull Knight acting as the foreshadowing creature Guts would become if he threw away his humanity to seek revenge upon Griffith. However, I believe Guts will clench onto that humanity and move away from his revenge and live the rest of his life in whatever peace he can, without such a fixated obsession with his hate. As we know, Guts will eventually embark on the journey to save Casca once more, unleashing his true potential onto the Apostle Army. It could be one of the greatest getbacks since Gon vs Pitou. Gon threw his humanity away to take revenge, however Guts is older, wiser, and more aligned with his emotions from years of suffering. Still, his power at full strength is still no joke. I scaled him a few months ago to be second only to the God Hand, Skull Knight, and full power Ganishka in a conventional 1 vs 1. It is possible he slaughters everyone to get to Casca, Zod, Grumbeld, Locust, etc., but imagine when he breaks into her cell that the Moonlight Boy is there with her as the castle burns. A golden opportunity, but Casca, possessed by motherly love, just cannot allow Guts to do it. I think it would be a moment of final growth for Guts to either finally overcome his lust for revenge. After all, slaying Griffith would not revive his past, the Band of the Hawk will remain dead forever. However, there is also the issue of Griffith's evil being implemented upon the world beyond his personal vendetta, but he has to. Guts could vanquish the physical body of Griffith whilst also sacrificing their child. If he did choose this option, falling into his animalistic self once more, it isn't a good ending by any means for Casca or Guts, a bittersweet at best, as Femto would still potentially exist, waiting for a chance to reincarnate into the physical world, and how Casca would react to the death of their child would no doubt be traumatic. I don't know what would happen after this, but closure is not something Guts will receive within the story, and if you haven't realized this yet, then you must be reading with your eyes closed. He is doomed to struggle for eternity, and when he dies, hell is all that awaits him. Berserk is a tragedy after all, and there is no paradise to escape to. Anyways, that's going to wrap it up. You can call it a low effort video because, well, it kind of is. I'm still recovering from an illness and jet lag. Until the next one, this has been Vok. Peace.